Happy Football Friday, Logan. It's good to
Happy
be
Football Friday. Good to be here.
here. Mark might be on, depending on if he's driving home or not. Chris can't be on, but good show today. Got some NFL news. Not much. Still in the weird area of post-ish free agency and pre-draft. So
Yeah. I think the closer we get to the draft, though, we're going to start to see some movement going on, some trades going down, some pieces getting moved. So we'll see. Be exciting.
Yeah, this is for all those who like deals. This is where teams are finding their free agent bargain bin shopping.
Yep.
When you don't have much, you gotta find the right prices out there.
Yep.
So we'll get through the NFL news and then continue our mock draft series today with the Bengals at pick number 31, and then the Bears starting the first team, the first team without a first round pick, which there are 8 of them, which is absolutely mind-boggling. Okay, so first off, no NCAA news today, but we had a revelation in the class action lawsuit of Brian Flores. He's added 2 former coaches, former Cardinals head coach Steve Wilkes, and I believe he was also with the Cardinals, defensive coordinator Ray Horton. They put out statements, those 2 men did. Horton's statement, I don't think was as bad as Wilkes was in terms of bad for the Cardinals. But I'm not going to read the whole thing on each, but essentially what Horton's statement said was in 2016, he interviewed with the Tennessee Titans for their head coaching position. And the allegations are that it was a completely sham interview just to abide by the Rooney Rule, to get a minority interviewed for that. And then ultimately the Titans hired Mike Mularkey, a white coach, as the head coach. And the crazy thing about that is that Mularkey went out then on a podcast. What was the podcast called? I don't know. I don't
There's
remember.
a Steelers podcast, actually, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, more than likely he coached for the Steelers, but yeah, I don't remember what the podcast is called. It doesn't say it on the statement. It just has a link to the podcast. But yeah, he came out on the podcast and Mularkey said, yeah, like they told me I was going to be the head coach. So he knew like the whole time. And he also said that there was no chance that Horton was going to get the job, essentially. That's a really long quote, and I was just trying to paraphrase without reading it. But yeah, that was Horton's statement. And like I said, I think Wilkes made absolute sense, complete sense. Whenever I read it, I was like, holy crap, like boom, that totally works. His says that he wasn't given a meaningful chance to succeed with the Cardinals in his 1 season as head coach, which was part of it in the fact they only gave him 1 season. White GM Steve Keim, who is still the GM,
Yep.
was convicted of a DUI and is still the GM.
I didn't even know that.
And given a contract extension, obviously he's
Right.
still here. And then he was replaced by a white coach in Cliff Kingsbury, who had no prior NFL coaching experience, was coming off multiple losing seasons at Texas Tech,
Yep. Mm-hmm.
and then came to the NFL, was loaded with Kyler Murray. And this was in 2018 was when Wilkes was the head coach. So that was the year they drafted Josh Rosen.
Josh Rosen. Yep.
Only had that year with Josh Rosen, and then they drafted Kyler Murray 19 with Cliff Kingsbury as head coach, and have had success ever since. So yeah, and they're pretty much saying that, you know, Wilkes wasn't given the same opportunity that Kingsbury was to succeed, which, like I said, makes complete sense when I look back at it and like, holy crap.
Yep. Yeah, I remember the Kingsbury signing. I remember. I mean, it's just a textbook case of failing upwards. I mean, didn't he get fired from Texas Tech?
No.
Before okay. Well, still, like you said, he was coming off of losing seasons at a Big 12 program. And he transitions right to a cushy head coaching job. And like you said, Wilkes was only given 1 year with Josh Rosen. And I mean, looking back on that, it's a miracle that Wilkes was able to squeeze out 3 wins with him at the helm. I mean, Rosen has bounced around to like 5 different teams now at this point. So yeah, it is a big deal for the class action lawsuit to get Wilkes on this, and it is very bad looks for the NFL. That's for sure.
Yeah, and I also saw, I didn't put this in the script, but I saw a thing on ESPN about there are 6 different attorney generals from certain states that are investigating the NFL in terms of improving their culture as it pertains to I think it was sexual assault with women in front offices and facilities. And I was, you know, obviously that's good. My thing with that was I was like, you know, what can they do? Yeah, you know, it's a professional sports league. You know, they said they're going to start with look into Roger Goodell to start. And my thing also is like, you know, Goodell can't control what goes on in the facilities. You know, that you have to look at a team by team basis and look at a team individually. And that's what they're doing, obviously, with Washington right now, looking into investigating Daniel Snyder and the stuff that's been going on there. But yeah, that's another thing that is going on legally with the NFL.
Yep. I mean, it all goes down to affect any sort of change, you have to hold the owners accountable. And that's just never going to happen with how the NFL is currently structured and with how Goodell is currently running things. You know, the owners, I mean, historically, I mean, the owners have always run the league, but I mean, there still has to be some kind of safeguards in place to hold these owners accountable. I mean, Dan Schneider should not be the owner of, like, there have been so many chances to where the other owners could have voted him out of the league and gotten new ownership in there, and he's still been able to cling on for dear life. And the only reason why now it's getting talked about where he might be out on the outs is because money's starting to get involved, right? With the what is it, tax evasion, right? He's being accused of, or you know, funny money type stuff. But
they withheld financials to I thought it was something with a cap, but I don't know.
Something money related that he's fudging the books on. So Yeah, there just has to be some kind of accountability that just kind of doesn't really exist right now. And like to your point, you have to kind of go on a team by team basis.
Yeah, I think what an interesting sort of solution would be, Goodell just signed a new extension for another couple of years. So, and I think after that, he'll be done. He'll retire. Um, it'd be interesting to look at when that happens, the next commissioner getting a minority candidate or actually getting a minority as commissioner, which the NFL has never had. So I think that would be a possible solution to look at anyways. I don't know if that would make a huge impact or not, but maybe.
Yeah. Another thing I've heard people talking about is, making a concerted effort to bring diversity into ownership. I think it's the Broncos right now, right? We're currently looking for new ownership. The league could take a step by that route if they wanted to. But yeah, I mean, there are things that can be done. So it'll be interesting to just see how, if any change happens through kind of these avenues.
Yeah, bringing a minority owner in, and I kind of see that as the same as the Rooney Rule, though, where it's just like, obviously it's ownership versus a position with a team, but as we've seen with the Ray Horton thing and Mike Mularkey, teams get past the Rooney Rule all the time, and there's nothing that has really stopped teams from doing the sham interviews. But ownership, it's like, you first of all, I mean, you have to have people that would be willing to take the team by the team as well, so it's
right. Yeah, it's definitely a much more intricate situation at that level because there's just so many aspects going on in terms of the business side of things. But yeah, I mean, I guess we'll see if like this lawsuit will affect any change or if it's just going to be kind of like the status quo here from the league.
Yeah. I also think it's interesting because, it's completely different just thinking about college where, the NCAA is they're a public organization.
Right.
From, members of public schools, but, NFL
right.
can do what they want, but they're a private organization.
Private.
So.
Yep.
All right. Moving on. You were talking about trades earlier. Well, one trade that will not be happening, or at least the team says it's not going to happen. Titans said they are not shopping wide receiver AJ Brown. Makes complete sense. I mean, why would they? They just traded for Robert Woods. They need a 1-2 on the outside. So I don't know why. I mean, obviously he's in the last year of his contract. So I guess anytime a big name player's last year of the contract, I guess these rumors always come up. But
yeah, especially this offseason with, I think going into this offseason, everybody kind of assumed, guys like Devontae Adams and Hill would never be out, they'd never be out. So now I feel like the media and everybody's just kind of like, okay, everything's on the table. And in certain respects it is, but like you said, this just makes too much sense. Even if they obviously they're going to work towards an extension, but even if they didn't, it would still be in their best interest to have AJ Brown for a year because this is a Titans roster that can win. I mean, they were the 1 seed. And barring injuries, I think that postseason run looks different for them in 2021. So, I mean, they went toe-to-toe with the Bengals, 9 sacks on Joey B. So, I mean, this is a good roster. This is a win-now team. So, yeah, I mean, your second best offensive player outside of Derrick Henry, you keep that guy.
I'm sure Titans fans would say, yeah, we can win now if we had a better quarterback. But they were never. That's the funny thing, I think, with the Titans is like that's what you heard coming out of that playoff loss, and then it's like they were never mentioned in any of the quarterback trades. Wilson, Watson. I don't know what other quarterback trades were.
Rogers until he re-signed. Yep.
Yeah. So I thought that was kind of funny. Why not trade for another wide receiver, reunite DK and AJ Brown, Ole Miss boys together down in Tennessee?
That would be a historically physical wide receiver room if you just paired those two guys up.
And then just I'd probably run AJ Brown out of the slot and put Woods and Metcalf outside.
Yep.
Texans and Packers defensive end Whitney Merciless has retired, former second-round pick of the Texans in 2012. Pretty good career. I laughed when I said Packers because I completely forgot that he even played for the Packers this past season.
Yep.
But he played for the Texans from 2012 to 2021 when he got released, and then the Packers picked him up for the rest of the season this year. I mentioned today to someone, I was like, yeah, Merciless said, yeah, 1 year in Green Bay was good enough for me. I'm done. But 58 career sacks, 237 solo tackles, 73 tackles for loss, 117 quarterback hits, 13 forced fumbles, 9 fumble recoveries, and 2 interceptions. 1 time second team All-Pro 2016.
Yep. Yeah, I think from the Packers perspective, I was hoping to get him back for a depth piece, maybe vet deal. Respect the hell out of the guy. I think he worked back this year. I think it was a bicep tear. It was something, bicep strain, something that he worked back from, and it was able to come back at the end of the year there. But I think what this does now, I think you can lock in a outside backer edge type player for the Packers in the top 60 with one of their 4 picks, because even though they re-signed Preston Smith, you still want at least 3 pass rushers who can get after the quarterback and then can serve as injury insurance for the other 2. So I think that those are the repercussions, at least from a team standpoint.
Ojabo will be there for you, even though he won't play this season more than likely.
Hey, Ojabo at 28, wouldn't hate it. To me, I think he's still a first-round talent. It would be tough, especially for a win-now team, to kind of have him be a red shirt. But I wouldn't hate it. Wouldn't hate it at all.
Yeah, Whitney Merciless was a part of those early 2010s defenses for the Texans that were pretty good. I mean, they were the only reason Bill O'Brien went to the playoffs 4 times and won division titles. Because I mean, they were winning division titles with guys like TJ Yates and who else? Brock Osweiler. and those guys, AJ McCarron, you know. And they almost won a playoff game. They almost beat the Bills they did beat the Bills.
And then they almost beat the Chiefs.
Tom Brady. Yep. They almost beat Tom Brady.
Yep. Yeah.
One game. Couldn't get it done, but yeah, those are some good defenses. Whitney Merciless, JJ Watt, and I'm trying to think who else was on. Ed Reed was a part of some of those, I think, or at least one after he left the Jets.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, Whitney Merciless is now done. The Saints, they re-signed Jameis Winston. They still have Ian Book, still have Trevor Siemian, and they signed Andy Dalton. So Blake Bortles is like, that's too many quarterbacks. I'm out. Asked for his release. They granted it.
Yep.
He's still a pretty good, veteran option. Has been around now for a couple teams with the Rams. Signed on with the Packers a couple times. Never stuck. Went to New Orleans last year. So I don't know. He wants a shot to be a legit number 2 somewhere. And I think there are probably still some teams that are looking for that. So
yeah, I think you could see him signed post draft to maybe some of these teams who are looking at rookies, but if the guy they like don't follow them, they still need to add depth there. So I think that's when you'll see him, kind of sign with the team, is that post draft free agency wave.
yeah, why not? Atlanta.
Yeah.
I think I mentioned this a couple times before. Sign Marcus Mariota. Obviously, he's going to be the starter, but they're relying on guys. Josh Rosen and Felipe Franks as their backups right now to Mariota. So I think that's definitely an option where you could see a guy like Bortles go to.
Yep.
And that also be a good option for him with a starter that has had injury concerns. Mariota was injured a lot of his time in Vegas the last 2 seasons. So, all right, let's get some money. The Bills, they signed wide receiver Stephon Diggs, 4 years, $96 million extension, $70 million guarantee. Wide receiver market continues to be astronomical this offseason.
Yeah. And what's crazy to me about this whole wide receiver market, and obviously Diggs is a top 5 wide receiver. You re-sign him and you throw the bag at him 10 times out of 10, right? But for some of these other guys that are getting these big deals, I don't know how these GMs are justifying this when the past 3 drafts have been absolutely chock full of young quality talent at the wide receiver position. And that seems to be a trend, coming out of the college ranks of these guys who you can get in the first 2 rounds who can be difference makers almost right away for you. So I think it's interesting that teams are still willing to throw money at a lot of these guys when there are seemingly cheaper, younger, and still effective options at that position. But
yeah, I think for some of the guys, it's the fact of getting a proven commodity versus a rookie lottery pick. But then, like you said, then you have the Christian Kirks.
That's more of what I'm talking about. Christian Kirks. Even guys like Mike Williams. I like Mike Williams. He's a really good player, but $20 million a year when you're sitting at 17.
That's terrible. Yeah, they could have used that 20 to sign a tackle and free because they need a right tackle. So.
Yeah, I mean, if you get Teron Armstead or another right tackle, you have a insane bookend tackle group for Herbert. So yeah, I mean, I think it's just an interesting draft strategy. And what is also interesting is that we're going to see if it pays off or not, because the teams that did get rid of their star wide receiver, proven commodities, the Chiefs and the Packers, both have the ammo in the top in rounds 1 and 2 to replenish that position.
Yeah.
So we're going to be able to see which of these kind of management styles are going to pay off. So.
Yeah, and like I said, with the Chiefs mock draft we did on Monday, I like doing exactly the Vikings model. use the same draft pick that you got to draft their replacement.
Yep.
That's
Yep.
the easiest answer.
Yep.
Another wide receiver extension who got good money. Texans signed wide receiver Brandon Cooks to a 2-year, $39.6 million extension, $36 million guaranteed. Brandon Cooks is like, I feel like Brandon Cooks is like the Kirk Cousins of wide receivers because he just keeps, or maybe Sam Bradford is a better example because I guess Cooks hasn't made the money like Cousins has, but Cooks has been traded like Bradford was traded a couple of times for high draft picks. With Bradford didn't have as much success as Cooks has had, but he does have 6,000-yard seasons in his career with the Patriots. Patriots, Saints, or no, what did he play for the Saints?
Yeah.
Patriots, Saints, Rams, and Texans.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I mean, I can't think of another guy who's been as productive as he has, who's been, tossed around the league so much. Yeah. But yeah, this signing hurt me as a Packer fan. I was hoping to see him in green and gold. But I mean, this is a great move for the Texans. And I mean, I think it is also a good move for Cooks because now he's got his team, he's not bouncing around anymore, trying to learn new offenses. So
yeah, and it's a big win for Davis Mills.
Davis Mills season 2022, it's coming.
He's his number one target. And yeah, I think I'm going to keep saying I think they're in a good spot. Texans get some defensive players to help Davis Mills get on the field more. And, get some guys in the mid rounds to fill in around the offense. So
yep, I saw a great point someone made. I think it was a tweet or something. They were like, if Davis Mills was coming out this year, where would he rank in the draft? And I mean, I think the answer to that is probably first, maybe second behind Malik Willis because he's got insane potential, right? But I mean, I think you put Davis Mills up against any of these guys in the draft, I think he wins. So
I'd probably put Davis Mills number one, but my number one's not Malik Willis. So all right, a couple re-signings here. The Broncos, they re-signed safety Kareem Jackson to a 1-year deal. I don't know how this man's still in the league. It feels like he's been in the league for way too long. But he made the transition to safety when he went to Denver, and it has worked out. Good tandem with him and Justin Simmons there. So Russell Wilson's defense gets to keep one of their own. And then the Bucks. We were talking about this on Monday with the Bucks and like what is going to be the post Brady plan. And I was like, it seems right now. I mean, they re-signed Ryan Griffin, and they still had Kyle Trask. So it seemed like it was just gonna, they're gonna give Kyle Trask the number 2 job this year. See how it goes. Let him learn directly from Tom Brady as opposed to having a number 2 guy in between him and Tom. But it's not going to be the case. Blaine Gabbert has re-signed in Tampa. So he will, unless they open it up, unless Todd Bowles opens up the number 2 spot to competition between Gabbert and Trask, that may or may not go well for Kyle Trask. But
yeah. And, this is the Buccaneers are somebody who I thought maybe could go quarterback round 1 because they saw what life after Brady looked like. They stared it right in the face this offseason. And if I was GM, I wouldn't want to be in that position, But, they're a team that is all in. So, and I mean, they have the roster to do it. So it seems like it's going to be more just go all in. And when it's over, it's over. And we just we just deal with it everything. We cross that bridge when we get to it. So
That's the Rams motto.
yep.
But yeah, they saw what post Brady life looked like, and they then sent 20 voicemails to Tom, like a crazy ex-girlfriend that can't get
Yep.
over why you broke up with her.
Yep.
So I just had to make that analogy. I thought
it tracks.
All right, some free agent deals here. Like I said, it's bargain basement shopping right now. The Falcons added two. Of course they did, because they're one of the worst teams in cap situation right now. So they signed former Titans draft pick linebacker Rashaan Evans to a 1-year deal. Also getting a 1-year deal from Atlanta is Bears offensive lineman Jermaine Ifedi. So the Rashaan Evans thing I like. They needed a linebacker after Aluakon went to Jacksonville in free agency. Evans, though, has turned out to be a 2-down guy instead of the 3-down guy that Titans thought they were getting in the second round when they drafted him. So
yeah,
we'll see how that works out. But
with the Falcons, you look at this roster and where's all the money going to? You know what I mean? Like, how are they in this cap situation when that roster is just so depleted? I mean, they are firmly in the running for the tank for Bryce sweepstakes.
Yeah.
So
30 million of it is going to Matt Ryan.
Right.
Which actually isn't going to Matt Ryan. Dead draft it. And the rest of it's going to, I know some of it's, well, actually, no, he's not getting any money because he's suspended. I was going to say some of it's going to Calvin Ridley too, but suspended, you don't get any money. So,
right.
The Rams have Johnny Hecker's replacement. They are bargain bin shopping as well. Signing Giants punter Riley Dixon to a 1-year deal. You know, Dixon had, I think, one good year in New York after coming over. I think he came over from the Broncos a couple years ago to the Giants. And then he had like one good year where I think he was top 5 in net average. And then wasn't that great after that. Giants didn't re-sign him. Ends up with the Super Bowl champions. Will they have to punt more this season? Maybe. Will they turn into the Packers special teams? Who knows?
Hopefully. It's about the only hope we have currently as of April 8th, 2022.
All right, the Saints getting some pass rush help. They signed Steelers defensive end Taco Charlton. I had to look it up. I completely forgot he was on the Steelers last year for a couple games anyways. But yeah, I never think of Taco other than being a Cowboys second-round draft pick a couple years ago. And I was going to write Cowboys, but I knew he hadn't been with them in a little bit. So, but yeah, the Saints get Taco Charlton to, I guess, help a little bit in their pass rush behind Cam Jordan and Marcus Davenport.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, just when I think of Taco Charlton, I just think top 10 football name.
The Bucks, they signed Cowboys safety Keanu Neal, so Todd Bowles gets some help in his secondary. Neal switching back to safety after playing last year as a linebacker in Dan Quinn's defense down in Dallas. So, I mean, I think safety is where he should be. That's where he had success in Atlanta at. So it's kind of crazy, though. His career, like, he was at the top when they went to the Super Bowl. And then I guess injury. He got injured in Atlanta a couple times, and it's like, boom, down.
Yeah. It's a part of the game. You hate to see it.
Yeah, and then the last one that has actually signed. Well, he hasn't actually signed, but he will sign soon. The Colts are signing Eagles safety Rodney McLeod. Hate to see him go. I was kind of surprised the Eagles weren't going to re-sign him, but they didn't want to spend the money to re-sign I think he's 36 now, 35, 36-year-old safety that has slowed in recent years. Also due to injuries, ACL. I don't think that was last year. I think that was 2 years ago. But yeah, so now both of the Super Bowl safeties for the Eagles are now gone. Malcolm Jenkins retiring, and Rodney McLeod off to Indianapolis. So,
yeah, I gotta imagine secondary needs to be a big emphasis for the Eagles team building this year.
yeah. Well, we got. I don't know why we re-signed Anthony Harris, but we did. And I think they believe a lot in Kayvon Wallace, drafted in the 4th round 2 years ago. So, and then an interesting one, the Ravens are currently in negotiations to sign Broncos running back Melvin Gordon. I don't like that for fantasy purposes because I was ready. I was ready last year for the JK show. JK Dobbins. And then last preseason game, he goes down. I'm like, God dang. I traded a 1st-round pick for him last year, too.
Ooh.
And
straight up?
There was more involved with that. But
yeah, I mean, that's around what he's worth or what he was worth pre-injury. So, yeah. I mean, I love this for the Ravens, from a pure football perspective, because they're a team that the positional value of running back doesn't apply to them because it's so essential to their offense. Like, you saw what happened when their running back room got depleted to nothing. So bringing in a guy like Melvin Gordon who can be reliable, that would be huge for them.
Yeah, they were running out Devontae Freeman and Le'Veon Bell.
Right. Like it was 2016.
Yeah. I don't know why I can't find where this trade was. I don't know. Maybe I didn't write that one down. I usually write all my trades down. I don't know. But anyways, oh yeah, I didn't write my sleeper trades down. That's not good. But anyways, yeah. I would be, I mean, I do have Melvin also in some other dynasty leagues, so it wouldn't be the worst thing, but I thought they had a pretty good thing going with Gordon and Williams in Denver, especially with Russell Wilson coming now. I mean, we know how he ups the run game.
Yeah, and I selfishly wanted Gordon out because I have Javonte Williams shares, so
Well, I do too. I have Gordon in one of my dynasty leagues. I have Williams in one of my other ones. But let me see. I think I can see the. Oh, here we go. So I traded Terry McLaurin, a 2022 first and a 2023 second for J.K. Dobbins and a 22 fifth last year. August 11th, 2021.
Did not age well. Well, I mean, there's still time. I still believe in JK.
Yeah, I need him considering I also have Zeke Elliott, and that's not working out. He is not aging well. That is for sure. And then some visits here. The Saints hosted in person, and the Eagles hosted virtually. Chief safety Tyrann Mathieu for visits. That is one, talking about Rodney McLeod. getting signed by the Colts. Eagles have been looking for safeties. I've heard the Eagles have been in on Matthew kind of from the beginning-ish, and they were a destination. But it's all about the price tag at this point, and knowing Howie, he won't go over what he thinks a player is worth at this point in the season.
Yeah.
And the Saints, I don't know why they are hosting him. I mean, they've signed like 5 safeties this offseason. They re-signed PJ Williams, and they signed I forget who they signed. They signed like 2 other guys though, right?
I don't know. I just know that they lost Marcus Williams, right?
Oh, yeah, they signed Marcus May.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
Yeah. So, and then they signed another person too that I can't remember. But yeah, they've signed like 3 safeties already this all season. It's like you don't need to go 5 safety deep. You're only gonna keep.
I guess the
max.
strategy is just get Tyrann Mathieu on your team and figure everything else out later. Which isn't terrible in my opinion. Not a terrible way to look at it.
Yeah, I think the Saints need a lot more than just a 30-year-old Tyrann Mathieu. And then the Niners hosted Colts defensive end Kamoko Toure for a visit as well. That's another one where I'm like, I mean, I know this is what the Niners do. They just sign all the DNs that they can, or defensive linemen in general. I like Kamoko Toure, former 2nd-round pick, I believe, with the Colts. I thought he was pretty decent for them. He wasn't anything spectacular, but a good situational pass rusher at the work.
Yeah, I mean, I think that would be the role for him in San Fran. And I mean, that defense is so predicated on getting home with 4 in pass rush that I think, like you said, them signing as many pass rushers that they can so that they can rotate guys and keep them fresh.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think that's par for the course for them.
And then one more thing that I saw pop up on Twitter, the Browns are re-signing safety Ronnie Harrison. So got him in a trade, I think that was 2 years ago with the Jags. And I haven't noticed him that much on a Cleveland defense, but they're bringing him back for another year. So granted, I no clue what the direction of the Browns is anyways, even with Deshaun Watson and Amari.
I don't think anybody does.
All right, that is all the news. Oh, wait, no, there's one more. I forgot. I didn't flip my page to the next one. Interesting workout this week. The Dolphins worked out Commanders linebacker Reuben Foster. Hasn't played meaningful snaps since 2019. Has been injured. Or I don't think he even played in the league last year. Maybe. I don't remember. But has been injured. He's finally healthy now, apparently. And he overlapped when he was in San Francisco. They drafted him in 2017 when Mike McDaniel was there, and he played in 2018 while McDaniel was there as well.
He was not in the league last year.
Okay.
The last team he was on was Washington in 2020.
Yeah, so 19 and 20, he had injuries, major injuries. Both were ACL tears, I believe.
Yeah. And I mean, we talked earlier about the NFL and, kind of their image, I guess. I mean, I don't know how a guy with his history is still getting chances. I mean, that's just me, but I don't know. Apparently NFL teams feel differently.
Yeah, and it's also it's not off the field stuff, but with the injuries, it's kind of crazy that he's had so many major injuries and he's still, getting another shot, at least a workout.
Right. Yeah. Right.
Where,
Like
you
the
know, his
injuries by
running partner-
themselves might be enough to like where you're like, I don't think we're gonna touch this. But you add in the rap sheet of off the field issues and geez.
Yeah, but I just think it's crazy because, like, his running partner in that Super Bowl that they went to, Navarro Bowman,
Mm.
injured in the NFC Championship game that year, done. Never played. He did play, I think, maybe one more season, but, was never the same. I mean, that was obviously more massive than just an ACL injury, but
Mm-hmm.
that thing was nasty. I remember that right on the goal line against Seattle. It was and then I'll just throw this out there before we get to the mock draft, because I just thought about it now. Terrell Owens wants to play again in the league. He signed with the Fan Controlled Football League. He's going to play with Johnny Manziel on that team. Whatever, I don't know what the name of the team is, but he said he talks to Andy Reid every once in a while, and he keeps telling Andy like that he can still play at 48 years old, by the way. 48. So he said last year when the Chiefs had some injury issues at wide receiver, he called Andy and told him to sign him and that he would help out. But yeah, he never officially retired from the NFL. So
Wow. At Packers.
you want a 48-year-old Terrell Owens out there?
He's probably running like a 5.5 flat.
Yeah, I don't know. I think he said he wants to. He would be able to kind of like, muscle the young DBs in the league. Instead of use his speed, he'd be able to use his strength. I don't know. It'd be interesting. I'd pay for it. I'd pay to watch it.
Yeah, why not?
All right. So we got our mock draft series continuing today. Bengals at 31 overall. They have all their picks, own picks, 57 in the second, 89 in the third. Bears, their first round pick is with the Giants in the Justin Fields trade up last year. So their first pick is number 39. They got number 48 from the Chargers. And then they have their third round pick, number 71. Chargers pick was the Khalil Mack trade. So not that many picks. Not like we had on Monday where the Chiefs had like 6 picks. Crazy. All right, so we got Aiden Hutchinson. Wow, Malik Willis at 2. I'm here for
Electric.
it. Let's do it. Evan Neal to the Texans. Ike Mekwanu for the Jets. Trayvon Walker, the Giants. Charles Cross for the Panthers. Kyle Hamilton, the Giants. Kayvon Thibodeau to the Falcons. Ahmad Garner for the Seahawks. Jermaine Johnson for the Jets. Garrett Wilson to the Commanders. Derek Stingley for the Vikings. George Karlaftis to the Texans. Jordan Davis to the Ravens. Drake London, love it, to the Eagles. Jameson Williams to the Saints. Trevor Penning, Chargers. See, there's their right tackle. Andrew Booth for the Eagles. Kenny Pickett to the Saints. I hate you, Saints. One pick. Why you got to do one pick before? Trent McDuffie to the Steelers. Devin Lloyd to the Patriots. Devontae Wyatt for the Packers.
Love it.
Jahan Dotson for the Cardinals. Daxton Hill to the Cowboys. Kyer Elam for the Bills. Chris Olave to the Titans. Zion Johnson for the Bucks. Traylon Burks. There you go. A-Rod gets one.
I would weep tears of joy if we left the first round with Traylon Burks and Devontae Wyatt.
Lewis Seen and Sky Moore to the Chiefs, and we are on the Cardinals. We need a tackle, and there isn't one. There isn't a tackle. We can't do it. Sorry, Joe.
That's right. He's got Leal Collins now. He's good.
The corner is the next one, but I think Tyler Linderbaum.
Oh yeah, if Linderbaum's still there,
home run.
You sprint that in.
So yeah, I mean that's the easiest pick we have. Boye Mafe for the Lions, Perry and Winfrey for the Jags, Jaquan Brisker for the Lions, Kyler Gordon to the Jets, Bernard Raymond. That's the guy I wanted for the Bengals later, but to the Giants, Jalen Petrie, to the Texans, Nakobe Dean for the Jets. Actually, I wanted Bernard Raymond for the Bears or the Bengals because we still don't have a tackle because that was the only one that was at the top of the board. Because the next one's not till Fa'alele at 55. That's 16 spots that we don't need to reach. So we have Ojabo, we have Kenyon Green. There's needs 3 and 4. I don't think there's a wide receiver. Watson. But I think, I mean, you were saying about Ojabo. He's probably the only first-round player that is left on the board, other than if you want to make a case for Quay Walker or Desmond Ridder.
Yeah. I would love Ojabo for them, especially with the Khalil Mack trade. The only thing is they signed a defensive coach, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I just feel like from a team building perspective, you have to put Fields in the best situation as possible. And that O-line and wide receiver room as it stands right now is just bad. They really don't have a lot of juice there. So how can you properly evaluate a young QB who isn't being put in that situation? Now, they do have another pick in the second round to kind of fix that. So Ojabo is still very much on the board for them. But it's just something to think about that I'm hoping for Justin Fields' sake that front office is thinking about.
Yeah, I don't think their interior offensive line is that terrible. Obviously, Cody Whitehair, one of the better guys in the league. Lucas Patrick, who you're familiar with, that's center.
Yep, he's good.
And then Dakota Dozier at right guard, also a former NFC North foe with the Vikings. Now, there's not much behind them. And the wide receiver core is electric. Darnell Mooney, Byron Pringle, Equinemius St. Brown, who I didn't even know they signed. Daz Newsome, Nasimba Webster, and Isaiah Coulter. That's your Bears wide receivers.
I mean, I like it for my Darnell Mooney shares, but for the development of Justin Fields, it's not great.
Yeah, and as far as edge, I mean, I think if we want to reach for Christian Watson right now, we should. Even though we look and he's one spot technically before our next pick, but it seems like every time we try to do that, the player we want always goes in between our picks. So the edge rush is Robert Quinn. Obviously, he's going to be the number one guy. And then Al-Qadim Muhammad is the guy slated opposite him, who is fine. Had a good run in Indianapolis. He brought him over with him. Matt Eagles did from Indy.
Yeah.
Travis Gibson, Mario Edwards Jr., Jeremiah Tauchu, Sam Kamara. So, yeah, I guess I'm talking myself into reaching for Christian Watson at this point.
Yeah. I mean, I think this is kind of the range where I think Watson should go. It wouldn't surprise me if he claws his way into the back end of round one, just because he put up a historic combine, and you just don't find athletes like him all the time. But mid second round to early second round, I think, is his range. And I think it would be a good pick for the Bears at 39.
Christian Watson to the Bears. Look at that. David Ojabo to the Seahawks. Seahawks get their next quarterback, Desmond Ridder. Arnold Ebiketie to the Colts. Quay Walker for the Falcons. DeMarvin Leal to the Browns. Kenyon Green for the Ravens. Sam Howell, Vikings get a new quarterback. Interesting. Sean Ryan for the Commanders. Still don't have a tackle for the Bears. Oh yeah, we do. We can reach. I'm perfectly fine with reaching for Fa'alele right now.
Mm-hmm.
That's fine.
Especially because he's an experienced right tackle.
Yeah. We need bookend Larry Borum is the current right tackle.
Yeah, 5th round pick out of Missouri, right? Last year.
Yeah. So he can move to the swing role.
Yeah.
Okay. So Daniel Fa'alele for the Bears here at 48. Trey McBride to the Saints. Jameis Winston gets a new toy. Tariq Woolen for the Chiefs. Tyler Smith for the Eagles. Damari Salyer for the Steelers. Cameron Thomas to the Packers. God, it's one of my favorite players.
Love it.
Travis Jones to the Patriots. Kenneth Walker pairing with James Conner in Arizona. Logan Hall to the Cowboys. Breece Hall to go with Devin Singletary in Buffalo. Matt Corral. I think Falcons fans would go crazy if Matt Corral was the pick. Because I believe out of the top quarterbacks, no, I guess Howell would be closer in geographic location, but Matt Corral was SEC guy, so
right.
Christian Harris for the Packers, George Pickens for the Bucks, Josh Pascal for the Niners, Kingsley Enagbare for the Chiefs. Bengals, we don't have a tackle again. I can say that we do not have. There's one, which he has been mocked. I swear to God, he has been mocked to the Bengals almost every time that we have done this mock draft. And it's been at 63 every time. So, but we have
I don't like it.
We have a corner.
I don't like it.
We have a corner that can allow them to release Eli Apple, even though
yeah. I think that has to be a priority. Is let's find ways to make sure Eli Apple is not on the field. When we need a stop.
Yeah, so McCreary's there, and there also is a guy right here because they need a tight end. Uzama is now in New York with the Jets. That would be a Joey B pick. But I like McCurry to the Bengals.
Yeah.
That's fine. The Broncos, Isaiah Spiller to pair with Javonte Williams. There, his stock goes back down.
Hate it.
Isaiah Likely for the Jags. Trevor Lawrence gets a new weapon. Chad Muma for the Lions. Dylan Parham. Almost said Donald Parham. Dylan Parham to the Giants. Darian Kendrick for the Texans. Calvin Austin to the Jets. Nicholas Petit-Frere to the Jags. Bears back up. Of course, we have wide receivers available. Drake Jackson is there. Do we double down on wide receiver or do we get the edge rusher?
I'll tell you, I mean, they still need receiver help. And I think if Mechie is there at 71, I think that's a sprint in the cards. I feel like Mechie is getting massively overrated or underrated because of the injury. I still think he can be a very productive player at the next level.
Yeah.
Um,
And he's going to be back before Jameson Williams is.
right. Yeah, exactly. And I think, I mean, what I also would like if that is the way they go would be is that all three of their top guys kind of have different skill sets in Mooney, Watson, and Mechie, if that's kind of what their wide receiver room looked like. So Drake Jackson is also a really good fit there at 71 if he was available. So, I mean, they can't go wrong with either of those options. Again, I guess if you were going to tip the scales, I would lean to putting Justin Fields in as good of a situation as you can, because you need that rookie contract window to evaluate if he's the guy.
Yeah, I agree with John Mechie definitely over David Bell. David Bell's, I think, similar to Christian Watson. So yeah, double down and give Justin Fields some weapons. All right, I'm gonna hit this and then run to the bathroom real quick. Just talk about the Bengals' next pick.
Sure, sounds good. All right, up next for the Bengals here, top guys on the board, we do have some really good tight end options. Rusty mentioned earlier, they need some tight end help after Uzama left for the Jets. Channing Tindall is another intriguing option there, top of the board. Guy who is really versatile, really good athlete, has special teams upside. Linebacker might not be a glaring need for the Bengals, but I think it is something that they could still look to improve. You also have another linebacker there in Troy Anderson, who is also a guy who's been flying up draft boards in this kind of off-season mode, because he has been putting up freak athlete numbers, even though he comes out of a smaller school. I'd be intrigued to see kind of what O-line options are there. Maybe if a guy like Abraham Lucas out of Washington State was still on the board, maybe some other round three pieces to kind of put some depth on that position. But I think with the tight end board the way it is, I think that could be a very good return for them at this pick.
Yeah, I agree with like I said, I know you mentioned, I had mentioned the tight ends last pick. Of course, once again, there's no tackles for the Bengals.
Yeah.
Anyway. Yeah, so they signed Hayden Hurst. Drew Sample is their other main tight end. Definitely needs someone better than Hayden Hurst.
Yeah.
So, which one did you like best?
I would be very intrigued at Greg Dulcich. I know Daniel Jeremiah, draft analyst for NFL Network, is super high on him. I think he has him as his tight end one, because he's one of the best athletes at that position. Kind of more of a pass catching specialist, but I think that could be really fun in that offense, especially when they have guys like Hayden Hurst and Drew Sample, who maybe you put in that blocking role more.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would probably agree. I think it's in between Dulcich and Kate Otten. I liked Kate Otten out of Washington. I know how high Chris is on Jeremy Ruckert. That's not me. That's not the tight end for me. So yeah, I think 6'5", 247, 6'3 3/4, same weight. So 1.25 inch difference. But yeah, I'm fine with going Greg Dulcich. Just to get caught up on the picks since the Bears won. Ed Ingram to the Seahawks, David Bell to the Colts, Jalen Tolbert for the Falcons, Drake Jackson for the Broncos, Abraham Lucas for the Ravens, Brian Asamoah to the Vikings, Nick Benito for the Browns, Darian Beavers, the Chargers, Darian Kennard for the Texans, Giants, new quarterback, Carson Strong, Kirby Joseph, James Cook, the Eagles. Love it. Let's get it. Zachary Carter to the Steelers. Hate that one, though. Damari Mathis for the Patriots, Fidarian Mathis for the Raiders, Mario Goodrich, that's a home run for the Cardinals. Cole Strange to the Cowboys, Kyle Phillips for the Bills, Leo Chenal for the Titans, Delonte Taylor for the Bucks, Packers, Rasheed Walker, Marcus Jones for the Niners, Jojo Doman for the Chiefs, and now Greg Dulcich to the Bengals. Channing Tindall for the Broncos, Kate Otten for the Lions, Cordell Volson for the Saints, Troy Anderson for the Browns, Sam Williams for the Ravens, Tyreek Smith for the Eagles, Dolphins go Spencer Burford, Jeremy Ruckert for the Chiefs, Myjai Sanders for the Rams, and Khalil Shakir to the Niners. So our picks for the Bengals and Bears. Bengals at 31, home run selection and Tyler Linderbaum. Interior line out of Iowa. Bears at 39, Christian Watson, wide receiver, North Dakota State. Bears at 48, Daniel Fa'alele, tackle out of Minnesota. 63, Bengals, Roger McCurry, corner out of Auburn. 71, Bears, John Mechie, wide receiver out of Alabama. And 95, Bengals, Greg Dulcich, tight end, UCLA. I'm probably going to go with the Bengals as winners, heavily weighted by the Linderbaum selection.
Yeah. Yep. That is huge. Yep.
I think it was kind of close is with the double down at wide receiver. I'm just not super excited about both of those wide receivers.
Right. I mean, it's definitely harder when you're not in a position with your first round pick to get one of these premier guys, right?
Yeah. All right. Those are our picks. They will be on our social media shortly within the week. So check that out. And next Friday, Easter Friday, but I will be at home in Pennsylvania doing this show next Friday. But we will continue giving out the NCAA NFL news, what there is, and then we'll keep doing our mock drafts with teams without first round picks. So we'll be doing the Niners and we'll be redoing the Broncos finally after we did their pre-Russell Wilson mock draft, and I will do post Russell Wilson mock draft with their second round selection all the way down at 64 with the Rams Von Miller pick. But yeah, we'll be back on Monday, and that is when we're doing the Browns and Colts mock drafts. So don't forget to follow us on all our social media at FAA Podcast on Instagram and Twitter. FAApodcast.com is our website. You can check us out here on YouTube, Facebook, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and iHeartRadio. Don't forget, y'all, go Tiger this weekend. He has to win. He will win. Has to win for the people. So, all right. Thanks, Logan, and we will see you on Monday.